Hi, welcome to the Author's Lounge. My name is Cheryl Mays, and I am your host for this segment of the Author's Lounge, where we will be featuring this week Annette Phillip. Annette is the author of Sammy's Curious Adventure. And Sammy is a bunny that gets into a lot of mischief. And Miss Annette is from the Commonwealth of the Dominica. And this is her first children's book. So we are really excited to be able to hear about where it came from, where these lessons that she's teaching young ones, where it came from, and what is her writing style, and what's the message that she wants to send to parents in addition to their kids that might be a little mischievous. So she's got some great information to share with us. So you return after this message.
DremaspireTV Books Virtual Launch Box. Everything you need for a successful virtual book launch in one place. Timelines, press release templates, social media advertising info, graphic design, an interview on our streaming network, and a personal coaching session. Don't forget your thank yous and so much more. Visit us at www.DremaspireBooks.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Author's Lounge. My name is Cheryl Mays, and I'm your host. And today, we're going to talk with Miss Annette Phillips. Miss Phillips is the author of Sammy's Curious Adventure. And so I want to say hello.
Hi, buddy.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, Miss Annette, first you have to tell us, before we get into Sammy and his adventures, you have to tell us a little bit about you. So you're from the Commonwealth of the Dominica.
Yes, Commonwealth of Dominica. Yeah.
And now you reside in New York City.
Yeah, I've been living in New York City going on 17 years. Yes.
All right, so tell us about you. What is it that you do? What got you to want to even start this book as a children's book? And kind of give us some insight.
Well, I'm from the Caribbean island of Dominica, Commonwealth of Dominica, and I have loved reading and writing ever since I was a little girl. It's just that I never got to do anything much as I got older, just because it wasn't affordable. It was really hard to get into publishing your work and getting your work out there. But now, because of modern technology, it has become so much easier, so much better for writers to self-publish. And so Sammy, the story of Sammy came about from a little boy that I babysat. He was 6 at the time. He's 11 today, but at the time he was 6, and we went to the park like we normally do. And little boys are always more curious, and he came across an object in the grass. And he was curious about it. He didn't know what it was. And then I don't want to go into too much because I don't want to give the story away. But the whole thing about it is I was in a writing class and we were told to write a fable. And I don't know, that just popped into my head, that incident that I had with him. And I did write it into a fable. And the teacher told me, why don't you extend on it and make it into a story? Because she felt like it was so good. And then I just felt like, okay, I'm going to do that. Oh, why don't I make this into a children's book? You know, it has a good message to it. And I had already known my illustrator. I hadn't worked with him before, but I had known that he was into this kind of thing, writing and stuff like that. And so I spoke to him about it. And then, and we just started working on Sammy. And today it's published. Well, December 2019, it was published. And that's I'm doing right now, promoting it, marketing it, and helping people to know much more about the book and myself as an author.
It's amazing because you didn't start out writing stories. You literally started out in poetry, right?
Yeah, that was what I am, a poet at heart, and that was where I was going with my writing, was poetry. I actually started doing poetry sites, going on poetry sites and writing poetry. That was what I thought I could own. That I didn't know that I could extend my writing. I just felt like that was it for me until I went to those classes, and it was so amazing because I got to learn so much, and I realized, listen, I'm a prolific writer. I can do more than poetry. Yeah, and that's how it happened, you know. So right now I even have my children's book out before my poetry book, which is so funny, you know. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing, you know, those places where you go when you're not really sure about how it's going to end up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it was a nice journey, and it really helped me to extend on my writing and to make it, I mean, a career one day, maybe, right? For now, I enjoy doing it, put my work out there, but one day maybe that might just be the whole basis of everything for me, you know? It's just.
There you go. And here's the other unique piece about you writing this story with Sammy is that you have what we call a beta tester. You have a young one that actually reads the book and kind of gives you some insight.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How do you get someone that age to read your book and then give you a review on it?
Well, I just like, I mean, it's an exciting story. Kids love animals, books about animals. So I think that in itself is a good way to get them involved and to like enjoy the story. And I made him look like a kid, like the way a kid would imagine him to be. And yeah, and then when I remember when I spoke to the kid that I wrote about, I mean, he was older when I told him about the book, and he was very excited about it. And he actually remembered everything in that park that day. And yeah, and other kids like that have bought the parents have bought the book, they love it. You know, they want their mom to read it for them every night and stuff like that. So it's good to know the kids are very engaging. Like they love the story of Sammy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've seen a picture of Sammy, so he does look like he got his sneakers on. He's
well, we have to sneakers yet, but I mean, he does have that look that kid would resonate to. Like I want to look kind of like I don't know, Bunny's age doesn't really have age, you know, like because the kid was 6 years old when that happened, but I had to make Sammy look really childlike, you know.
Yeah. Well, you did very well there.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I told my illustrator how I wanted it done, and we worked well together. And yeah, and then when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what I envisioned it to be, you know. We have to make the kids like it. You know, they have to not only like the story, but like the illustrations. It has to like, they have to gravitate to that would make them enjoy the story even better, you know. Pretty much.
Absolutely. Guys, listen, we are here and we are talking with Miss Anette Phillip. She is the author of Sammy's Curious Adventure. And you have got to get this book if you've got a little one and you are looking at creative ways to teach life lessons. Because one of the lessons that Sammy learns is something that as a kid, you learned it, and, you know, your children learned it, and it's all about how not to play with fire. So we're going to hear more about that when we return after this commercial break. So definitely join us. Welcome back to the Author's Lounge. My name is Cheryl Mays. I'm your host, and I am here chatting with Miss Anette Phillip, the author of Sammy's Curious Adventure. Now, before the break, we were talking about you had a group of young ones literally review the book to kind of give you some insights on what they thought about it. And then you realized at some point that this is going to be a series because Sammy's going to have some upcoming adventures. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I wanted to make him into a 3-book series. This first one is Sammy's Curious Adventure. I have already written the second series. It's about bullying. So it's titled for now, Sammy is Bullied. And I kind of loved it, the story. And the first person to read that was an 8-year-old little girl that I babysat, and I just wanted her insight on the story because I was like, you know what, they're the ones that are gonna enjoy it even more, you know. So I asked her, I read it for her, and I asked her her opinion of it, and she had different. Her reaction to the story was like in the beginning, she was like sad. And then she got upset, and then she got happy because, you know, the emotions were just there. So I was so happy to see that because it told me that, okay, this is a good story, you know. She was able to tell me that, you know, she felt so sorry for Sammy, and, you know, she was happy his friends stood by him. You know, I don't want to give it away, and she really loved the second Sammy. And I'm planning on writing it, well, not writing, illustrating it, and hopefully before summer next year we can have it out, the second Sammy. So, and then I have to work on the third one. I have no idea for now. She did come up with an idea that I'm thinking I might go with, because children are smart and they come with great ideas. She did give third Sammy, and I said, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. So you never know, I might consider it. Yeah.
There you go. And you've got a little audience that's kind of like your focus group.
Yeah. Sammy, when I thought about writing Sammy, I didn't just go ahead with it. I spoke to parents, friends of mine that are parents, and I told them to tell me what they think, you know, because fire is something we don't know how people look at it, especially the object, what the object was. Some people see it differently. And so I wanted the parents' opinion of the story, and everybody loved the idea. They said it made sense. I said, you know what, it's actually kind of based on a true story. So that was a little help for me right there. And then when some of them bought the book and they read it to their kids, the kids, oh, I shouldn't play with fire, mommy. And then, and I mean, I was so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it feels so good to hear that the kids, they love it, you know, and they want their mom to read it for them at bedtime. I mean, I love that.
Awesome. You know, you have a very unique writing style, because we had talked previously about writer's block or writer's pause is what I like to call it, so that you don't stay there. Yeah. But you write in some of the strangest places.
I live in New York, and everybody knows how busy New York is. I don't drive, so I take the commute, the trains, the buses. And so I don't write on paper. The only time I write on paper was when I was in the classes, but me on my own, I text, or I should say I type on my phone. And so I do it on the trains and the buses. That's where I write most of my poems. And even the second Sammy, I wrote it on the bus and the train. Like I take a pause on there. I don't just write the whole thing. I mean, there's no way I pause. Even if it's like I write one verse going to work, and then the other verse going back home. But I think if people do that, like some writers, like I think what causes writer's block for me personally, I think is because people just want to write and get it done right away. And I don't think that's possible. I think you have to take a break, get the brain to function again, because you have other things we have to do, not only writing. And so for me, when I'm even writing like poetry, for instance, I will do like 1 or 2 verses and I'll stop. And maybe 2 days later I'll go and I'll finish up the rest. And then it's even better for me because my brain is refreshed by then. I get more ideas, you know, and I can go back and fix it up. But I don't know, for some reason, I'm not saying I cannot write in a quiet area, but I have my music on, my headset's on, and I'm texting and my head is down. Sometimes I have to be so careful because I pass my stop. You know, but I get creative. I don't know, for some reason I just get creative and energized when I'm writing in the hustle and bustle. of New York City. Commute, it's funny, but it works.
That's awesome.
Some people, they love to go to the library and write. I know a couple of people that would do that, and they felt good about it doing that. They felt like they could concentrate better. They felt like they wouldn't have writer's block if they did that. But I think writer's block is just a thing like where you just have to like pause, take pause, and just get your mind flowing again. Think of positive things. Think of just do what you have to do and then come back to it. Like that's how I feel. For me, I don't have writer's block. I'm blocked. I'm so happy for now. I don't have it. Don't know if I'll get it one of these days, but because I just write, I stop, I write, I stop, and it works for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you would like for our readers to know about Sammy or about what you have coming up? What's the message? I know we talked about not playing with fire, but what would be the message you would want parents to get from Sammy's adventures?
I want parents to know that well, it's an entertaining book, but at the same time it has a message, and the message is like you can be curious. It's okay to be curious as a kid because kids are curious, but we always have to be careful because being too curious can get us in problems, get us in trouble, can get us hurt or injured. So the message in Sammy is like, it's okay to be curious, but if you don't know what something is, you have no idea, don't try to figure it out. Ask a grown-up to tell you before you touch it or go too close to it. You ask a grown-up what it is and they will tell you. And if they figure it's safe enough for you to touch, and they will let you know that. But if you don't know what something is, you just don't touch it. Curiosity is fine, but when you're that curious, it can cause problems, can get you hurt. And that's what happened to Sammy. Sammy was curious. Yes, his mom wasn't present at the time. His friend Hannah was, but at the same time, you leave it where it is, and you say, I'm gonna tell my mom and let her explain to me what it is, and then she'll let me know if it's safe or not. So Sammy has a message. It's entertaining. Bunny is curious, but it has a message as to the safety, being safe as a kid. To that. That's what it is basically. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Annette. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Authors Lounge and sharing the story of Sammy, letting us know how you got to be able to write this book for this children's book for children. I think you said before it was 0 to age 8, and probably even a little higher than that you can actually read this book to your little ones, and then until they can read it to themselves, which is also a great opportunity too. And if they go to your website, you have key reading. You have like Sammy logo T-shirt.
It's available on Amazon as a paperback and a Kindle. And well, my website is sammythebunny.com, which is still being built up, but if you go on there, you will see like videos and a video of me, a small video clip of Sammy. You can get an idea about Sammy, but we are going to build it where people can eventually purchase books also on my website, as well as Amazon. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining me here on the Authors Lounge. Please follow us on DremaspireTV. Connect with us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. And then also connect to our Facebook groups at Dremaspire Books. Go to the website, DremaspireBooks.com. And so definitely do that. Please also follow us on Instagram, Dremaspire Books. On Instagram, we would love to have you. I'm so excited every time that I get to share an author. So definitely follow us and come back. Join us every week where you can have an opportunity to hear from another author and find out another book. Add it to your book club. Add it to your book collection. We're always looking for new books, and I'm sure you are too. Thank you for joining me. My name is Cheryl Mays, and I am your host of the Authors Lounge.